hopefully within a while, sometime this year, we'll be able to digitize. My hope is that I can offer a service to people who are in co-op distribution or in no distribution at all, and want to get their work into that medium fairly inexpensively. It's still a pretty expensive process. But I had an optical printer sitting around, and I bought a good quality still camera and attached it where the film camera used to be. And then my friend George Lockwood came up with a lot of the computer know-how to process the image and make it into a digital document. A process that I don't even begin to understand, but he's in there doing it. So it's coming.
In the front there?
Oh, well, you know, Pat, you might say that you're not working that much digitally, but your imagery is so rich and so beautiful, and all the work that digital artists are now doing. So many people are doing what you're doing, or have done in the past. I mean, you've kind of led the way for digital artists, you know, doing what they're doing. Just even this last piece that you were showing, just extremely beautiful to me. And sometimes I wonder when I look at your things, they're so beautiful, it seems that almost that you're led, that your work process is led first by just putting together these incredibly beautiful images, more than anything else.
And I think it completely translates into the digital realm. It is curious though, I mean, there's so much more interesting visual stuff going on in commercial film and even well, particularly in commercials, that it's sort of daunting in a way. It's kind of like, well, how can you compete with an industry that's using all of these technologies and a lot more? It's kind of humbling in a way, but I've always just sort of existed on the edge of it. And by the way, this is Audrey Phillips, who did a lot of the drawing that's in that film, and Chris Cassidy, sitting next to her, is also responsible for a lot of the imagery and Trouble in the Image.
What kind of installation work are you doing now, you were talking about?
I'm shooting small objects in motion and then projecting them on complex surfaces. I just have a false wall in my studio with openings through it and a second wall behind it, and I'm experimenting with two projections that are in two different places in space that you see it first as a solid thing, and then it breaks apart as you move around.
Is that film or digital projection?
It's digital. Yeah, it's shot with consumer level DV. Tom.
Pat, given what Audrey was saying and stuff, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just really want to let you know how influential you are to very, very many people in Los Angeles in terms of the experimental film world. It's great to see all the work.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. It's strange. It sort of feels like it's all gone by in a funny way to me, because I haven't really been paying much attention lately. I don't really.
But maybe you just need to think that working digitally isn't necessarily working in a genre, but it's working as a method. And
exactly.
And I think your work is actually a precursor to everything that's sort of come to be.
Yeah, that's kind of what Audrey was saying, that you in a way, you pre-visualized or what's the word, predicted where imagery would go with a much more difficult tool, in a way.
I think set a standard
Anticipated.
for what to expect from the digital.
It's curious to sort of try to figure out, how that all works. I mean, you do a work and you put it out there and you don't really know where all it's gone and so forth, and then perhaps you get a response back.
Yeah, I think you'll never know.
You don't know.
I don't think you're allowed to know.
Yeah.
Anybody who makes art, I think, really is never clued into how they've affected people, who they've affected, what it's led to. That's the nature of art.
Yeah.
I think it's common with all people that create things. Who knows who's going to see it?
And it's a complex trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add though that the tensions you were operating under as on an optical printer will not be replicated digitally. I mean, you've inspired digital stuff, but there's qualities that will never that are isolated to you, to this era when you had an optical printer. And as optical printers disappear, your work is going to be unique. And Mark Toscano is somewhere here. This is the importance of preserving your work. Because it's not going to be repeated. It's a really incredible body of work.
And there are real gate hairs in the
Yeah. Great.
Also, I'd like to see the last film projected out of frame.
You wouldn't be able to tell.
You wouldn't be able to tell.
Except you'd
And
have
this
one
is-
constant line that never moved.
Right.
It would be, that's right, that's right.
I
Or
had,
the
I had some
projectionist
trouble
could-
cutting the negative, by the way. I had to go back a few times.
It was interesting though when you had that pile up of images, how it changes the hierarchy of the perspective. So, so you have, all of a sudden you have the, you know, just the no perspective picture where it goes up and that's the top. When you have that, so it was lovely too.
I sort of like the fact that you see different perspectives in different parts of the frame, so your eyes just kind of wander around and you happen into things. So every time you look at it, it's going to be different. I think we may project that at a gallery show I'm going to have at Rosamund Filson Gallery in Santa Monica in June. It'll be projected off of a computer drive on a wall together with some other things.
How do you like digital projection now? Have you been looking at digital projectors with your?
I have a
installation?
couple.
You have a couple?
There's a real limit to the resolution, of course. But they're very, very bright, and they produce a quality of light that's different from a film projector because it's on all the time. It's so much brighter.
But there's no flicker, is there? Is it a constant?
It's a constant beam.
Constant beam.
Yeah.